All right, so here is GMAT Data Sufficiency question. 13 questions to be answered in 25 minutes. So let's go. The first question. What is the value of S? Okay. So B, because we have we have S equals minus 2 or 2, but minus 2 absolute equals 2 absolute equals 2. So B. Next. Of the women in the, what percent of a group of people are women with red hair? So B. So A. So A, statement 1 is not sufficient. Okay, that is E. Wait. Let's remember that we don't know the percentage of women in the group. We only know the percentage that have red hair. So that is why it's not sufficient. And the second one, we're actually looking for men, not women. When we combine together, it's still not giving us the needed information. So we select E. Next. This is a classical Venn diagram. In college S, the number of students enrolled both in chemistry and biology course is how much less than the number of students enrolled in neither. So chemistry minus S, biology minus S is both, and here is neither. This is the working equation. A minus S plus B minus S plus N equals total. Statement 1 is not sufficient because it only provided information for chemistry. Statement 2 is not sufficient because it only provided information for biology. When combined together, then we are looking for the difference between N and S. But at the same time, we don't still have the total. So we still don't have enough information. Next question. A certain express has exit J, K, L, and M. J, K, L, and M. What is the row distance from exit K to L? That is here. Statement 1 is the row distance from J to L. That is from here to here. That is not sufficient because to know KL, we need JK. And the row distance, statement 2 is the row distance from K to M. Now, this makes this a sort of Venn diagram again, because KL that we are looking for is for both. This information is still not enough to solve this. What will have helped us to solve this is, as we know the total distance between J and M, just like in the Venn diagram. So we also select E. Next question. If N is an integer, is N plus 1 odd? Let's classify what are integers. Integers are numbers such that S is a member of this group. S is a member of S such that S is a member of from infinity, epsilon, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, then 1, 2, 3. Continue like that. So S, any number that can be written among these ones is an integer. Then all the integers can be divided into even and odd, the one that concerns us now. Any integer that ends even is when an integer ends with 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. 0 is also an even integer. Odd, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now, in answering this question, Statement 1 states that n plus 2 is an even integer. You will notice that the only number you can add to and it still give you an even integer, that number must be even. It must be even. So let's say the number is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 is an even integer. But then 6 plus 1 is odd. So that statement alone is sufficient. N minus 1 is odd. Again, the only number that you can subtract 1 from it, it will give you an odd integer, is an even integer. Like again, 6 minus 1 is 5. So that statement 2 is also sufficient. Now, because B and because A and B are both sufficient, so we go for D. Next, this question, it might worth writing it clearly. It's something like 9 raised to the power s plus 9 raised to the power minus s equals b. So the question is, statement 1 is 3 raised to the power s plus 3 raised to the power minus s equals the square root of b plus 2. Now, to remove square root, we square. To remove square root, we square. And if we square, we are going to get the square. So if we square, we are going to get the square of everything here, which is 3s plus 3 minus s all squared, then equals b plus 2. When we do that, this one is going to be 3 raised to the power 2s plus 2 times 3 raised to the power s, 3 raised to the power s times 3 raised to the power minus s is actually 1 over 3 raised to the power s. Then plus the square of this one. The square of this, that is 1 over 3 raised to the power 2s. C equals to b plus 2. We then notice that 3 raised to the power s, we cancel 3 raised to the power s. 3 raised to the power s, we cancel 3 raised to the power s. Okay? And 3 raised to the power s, we cancel 3 raised to the power s. Then 3 squared is 9. So this is 9s plus 2 plus 3 raised to the power 2s. This is 3 raised to the power, yes, this is 3 raised to the power s. 3 raised to the power 2s is also 9. If you bring it back, it is now 9 minus s equals b plus 2. See that 2 we cancel 2. And we are back with what we had before. 9s minus 9 to the power s plus 9 raised to the power minus s. So statement 1 is sufficient. Statement 2 will not be sufficient simply because s greater than 0, there is several values that will give us s greater than 0. So which one? Again, because it's no longer mentioning the b that was part of the equation. So we select statement 1 alone. Guy's net income equals his gross income minus his deduction. By what percent did Guy's net income change on January 1, 1989? When both his gross income and his deduction increase. Guy's gross income increased by 4% on January 1, 1989. Now, this is not sufficient because to find the net, by what percent, to find the net income, we need gross income and deduction. Statement 1 is not sufficient. Statement 2 is also not sufficient. Why? Because we need both of them. Statement 1 and statement 2 are providing one information. And when we combine together, it's still not sufficient because if we try different values, also given that this one is 5%, this one is 4%, this one is 15%, by the time we start trying different values, the change will not be the same again. So we go for E. Next, what is the value of, this this is actually something like this. Okay, this need us to know S, Y, Z. This all they make they oh just we are solving it first. Oh, so I'm also bringing the concept, right? It's not cramming, and cramming is not bad, right? Only thing is that you should go beyond cramming. Cramming is you see something now, try to remember it, but you want to do that only now. But if you do what we call space memorization, that is, you try to remember it after the next 2 hours, after the next 4 hours, after the next 1 day. It's no longer cramming. This is a key concept. S plus Y plus Z equals 180 degrees. Sum of angle in a triangle equals 180 degrees. So is a key math concept. You notice that S plus Y is 139. Since we are looking for Z, so it's as good as, since we are looking for Z, it's as good as saying S plus Y is now 139. It's 139 plus Z equals 180. So we can find Z. For statement 2, Y plus Z is 108. Where is S? We don't know. So let's go. Only statement 1 is sufficient. What is the total number of coin Bet and Clay have? Bet has 50% more coin. So there's many numbers that are 50% more. For instance, 150 is 50% more than 100. 15 is 50% more than 10, and so on. So we don't know the exact value, but it said that the total number of coins that Bet and Clay have is between 21 and 28. Now that means that one is also not sufficient, because is it 22, is it 23, is it 24? So we don't know. But when we combine together, the only number that you can find and add it, the number and 50% of it, that is S plus 50% more than S, which is 1.5S, equals the number. So now this is equals to 2.25, right? The only of such number is 25. The only number you can divide by 2.25 and you get a fraction, you get a whole number, is 25. Remember that what we are talking about here is a coin, and we cannot have half of it, so it must be an integer value. So when combined together, it is sufficient. We have only we are on question 10 of 13. Let's check our time. Have we gotten to this place? How manage? Okay, let's go now. Let's go first. So look at this one. Machine S and Y produce identical bottles at different constant rates. Machine S operates alone for 4 hours and fill part of the production lot. Then machine Y operates alone for 3 hours, fill the rest of this lot. How many hours would it have taken machine S operating alone to fill the entire production lot? So what we need to say, machine S produce 30 bottles per minute. What did machine Y produce? We don't know. So what we now form the basis of the comparison. So we can't form the basis of the comparison, right? Because it's when we have a basis of the comparison that we can. The only thing we know here is that machine S operating alone for 4 hours, fill part of the production lot. Then machine Y operating alone for 3 hours, fill the rest of this lot. We know only the time, the work. But now, see another thing. Another thing is, statement 1 is not sufficient, so let's go to statement 2. Machine S produced twice as many bottles in 4 hours as machine Y produced in 3 hours. Now we now have a basis of our comparison. Now that we have basis, we can express one in terms of the other. Remember that last question, they said one number is 50% of the other. So this one too, we can express this in terms of the other. So it's as good as we now have one variable. Or by knowing one variable, we can know the other one too. So combined together, they become sufficient. An employee is paid 1.5 times the regular hourly rate for each hour worked in excess of 40 hours per week, excluding Sunday, and 2 times the regular hourly rate for each hour worked on Sunday. How much was the employee paid last week? So I want you to attempt this one. Statement 1, the employee's regular hourly rate is $10. Can we find this? Can we use this to solve the question? Hello, ma. Okay. Okay, so these are the questions we need to ask. Do we know how many hours the employee worked? What we know is only the $10 rate, regular rate. From here, we can know 1.5 times so 1.5 times 10 is 15, right? But we don't know. We don't know how many hours he worked, right? We don't know the actual hour. Ma? No, you have to finish one statement before the other. So statement 1 is not sufficient because we don't know how many hours he worked. Statement 2 is also not sufficient. Why? Can you quickly figure out why statement 2 is not sufficient? It's not something hard. We want to know how much. How much was the employee paid last week? Now, statement 2 is not sufficient, but can you quickly find out why? Still have 7 minutes. Yes, if you think, just think, right? Unleash your thinking. Don't throw bomb, only thinking. All right, you don't need to go too far. If somebody work 54 hours, we don't know how much the person is working. Just like that time it was raining in Nigeria, people were doing tap. You don't know how much they are going to pay you. You say you are doing tap. You have 54 million taps. What if they now say that a 1 million tap is 1 naira? So 54 million taps is not 54 naira. So without knowing the amount, we can't know how much he earned. True of us. So don't make it look like so difficult. Some of them are challenging, but it's not to say whether this statement 2 is sufficient or not. And the good thing here is that once you know that statement 2 is not sufficient, then B is not the answer. Because B is not the answer, D cannot also be the answer because D needs statement 2. So now the option we reduce to 1, 2, 3. And if you are very sure, since we are very sure that statement 1 is also not sufficient, the option is now reduced to only C and E. For now, this question is still not sufficient. Why? It's still not sufficient because how do we divide this 54? How many hours out of these 54 were regular hours? How many of these regular hours were on Saturdays, because Sunday's price is also different, so we don't know. We select E. Last year, a certain company began manufacturing product S and sold every unit of product S that it produced. Last year, the company's total expenses for manufacturing product S were equal to $100,000 plus 5% of the company's total revenue from all units of product S sold. If the company made a profit on product S last year, did the company sell more than 21,000 units of product S last year? So what I said last can be a clue to this. We don't know how much they are selling it. What we do know is that they need to sell enough that after paying the $100,000 and the 5%, they still have money, since they said they make profit. But how much is one unit? We don't know, right? They don't need to sell 21,000. Do you know that there's some products in this world that is more than $100,000? True of us. It's not up to this 1 million. It's these millions of dollars that Nigeria government are borrowing. So this is not big. And so yes, the company can produce only 2 products and sold it more than pay tax, also made profit. The company can also, just like in that tap example, can also produce 100 units and still didn't make make profit, right? So the most is not up to 21,000. It can be below, it can be above. How about statement 2? For each unit of product S sold last year, the company revenue was $5. You see, this statement is sufficient. Why? We can from this now know how much, since 1 unit is going to be 5. Remember that 5 times 20,000 is 5 times 20,000 can give us 100,000, right? Then we start calculating 10%. So we have value to work that can give us actual figure. If we start calculating it, we know how much needed to be able to pay $100,000 and still make profit. Let's quickly check this, because I didn't understand. Everything was going too fast. You see that we didn't select here. See, we are too fast. Sandy sold to Todd. You see this question. This question is like S plus 2 over 3 S equals 100. Because 2 of them sold 100. So, by statement 2 is Sandy sold 8% of the raffle tickets sold for Club S. But we don't know what the total is. We know that Sandy and Paula sold 100. So together they sold 100. So the A is correct, B is not. And we answered this one. We answered this one. We answered this one. We answered this one. Answer this one. Answer this one. Answer this one. Answer this. But if in actual exam, if you are doing next, pay attention before it will submit it for you. Oh, 11 over 13, and the time had not ended. It could be that there is one we didn't select. Yes, that B. Yes, that B we didn't select that B. You see that 11. I said that statement 2 is sufficient, so it's B. Is B. Is B. So we actually send you what? Let's quickly redo this. Okay. Let's let's quickly redo this. Now, the good thing about this is that whenever you submit the answer, you will see the what is it called? You will see the answers. Sorry, you will see the solutions too. So, but let's quickly redo this now. And redoing it is not to justify anything. It's just for you to be able to remember what you were trying to do before. Now you can be telling me, can you remember the answer of number 1? Are you there? You are no longer there. All right. The answer of this one is only statement 2, because s equals minus s absolute, several values of s. Statement 2, s squared equals 4. So s equals minus 2 or 2. But s absolute, which is what we are looking for, equals 2 absolute equals minus 2 absolute equals 2. Next question. What percent of a group of people are women with red hair? Of the women in the group, 5% have red hair. But we don't know the percentage of the group that are women. What we know is only red hair. Statement 1 is not sufficient. Of the men in the group, 10% have red hair. But we are looking for women. When combined together, it's still not sufficient, but it will have been sufficient, assuming, let's say, we have, or assuming the question statement 2 states that 10% of the group are men, but it's not what it said. So we select E. So this is our Venn diagram. We have S, C minus S, B minus S, neither, total. When we add everything together, it will give us total. Statement 1 is only talking of chemistry, not sufficient. Statement 2, biology, not sufficient. When combined together, we can still find S minus neither or neither minus S, because we don't still know the total. So we select E. This and this Venn diagram are still almost the same thing. J, K, L, M. We are looking for K, L, which is the common area. Statement 1 is giving us E to J. Sorry, J to L. We can't know KL without JK. And statement 2 is giving us KM with the same thing. Both of them are not sufficient. When combined together, they are still not sufficient. For some conditions, can help us, can make this sufficient. For instance, assuming all the distance we are equal, or assuming we know the total distance, then combining will have been sufficient. So we select E. If n is an integer, is n plus 1 odd? Remember, even integers are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and odd integers minus 1, 3, 5, 7, continue like that. Statement 1, n plus 2 is an even integer. One thing that you can do with this type of question is to create the scenario. Ask yourself, what can I add to 2 to make it an even integer? The number you can add will be an even, so that like 6 plus 2 is 8. Then 6 plus 1 is odd, so it's sufficient. In the same way, what can I subtract from what can we subtract 1 from to get an odd? So again, uh I know. I want to redo it and send to you. By the time you watch it 2 times, it's going to be making sense. Okay, so in solving this question, okay, we are already solving the odd number. What can we subtract from a number so that it is an odd? That number, what number? That number can only be even. Like 6 minus 1, 7 minus 8 minus 1. Now, 8 plus 1 is odd. That one is also sufficient. So both of them are sufficient. All right. So let's go. That student we are doing the marathon class last night, she just sent me her results now. She passed. I was scared. Let's continue. Are you there? Okay, you're not there. Boss, okay. All right. Don't forget that this is time before it will time out again. Okay, this one. So we solved this earlier. So here is the solution. It was a marathon solution. But let me solve it again for you, just for the math's sake. This is ns plus n minus s, n to the power s plus n minus s equals b. So if we are working with the first statement, which is 3s plus 3 minus s equals root b plus 2. Now, a math concept you should know. First of all, take the square root out. So we have 3 raised to the power s plus 3 raised to the power minus s. This is minus here. Squared equals b plus 2. That is this math concept that s plus y all square equals s squared plus 2sy plus y square. We also call this math identity. So we also call this math identity. Okay. Let's continue. So if we take this, let's also remember in indices that 3 raised to the power s, that 3 raised to the power minus s is also the same thing as 1 over 3s. So we put our square back and still put b plus 2. If we are following this identity, we square this one. It will be 2s. Just to fulfill righteousness, it is actually something like this plus something like this equals b plus 2. If we square this, I have not put the middle value, 2 times s times y. So I need to put the middle values. The middle value is 2 times, we better use brackets, 3 raised to the power s, because bracket also means multiplication, and 1 over 3 raised to the power s, okay, then plus, better clean up all this, plus 1 over 3 raised to the power s all squared equals b plus 2. Okay, equals b plus 2. Now, this one is 9 raised to the power s, because 3 squared is 9. Plus, you see that this we cancel this. So is now remaining 2. Plus, this is 1 over 9 raised to the power s equals b plus 2. 9 raised to the power s. Now 2 we finally cancel 2. Plus, bringing this back, 9 raised to the power minus s equals b. So segment 1 is sufficient. Segment 2 is not sufficient for at least several reasons you can hold on to. The first is segment 2 is not giving us our b again. And segment 2 is saying greater than 0. Greater than 0 is what? I said 1, 2, 300, 1 billion. So we don't know. So we go for segment 1. Guys, net income. The thing here is that net income, assuming this was a company, it would have been gross, it would have been revenue equal net income equals revenue minus expenses. But here, net income is earnings is gross income minus deductions. Segment 1 is talking about gross income, so we need deduction, not sufficient. Segment 2 is talking about deduction, we need gross income. When combined together, they are still not sufficient. This time around, they are not sufficient because the values, this one is 15%, this one is 4%. And because we are choosing different values, let's say we choose 100. We choose 100 and choose 50. Or we choose 100 and just choose 1. As we vary it, the changes continue to change. And so we need more information. We go for E. This is this triangle. And we put S, Y, Z. Basic rule is that S plus Y plus Z equals 180. So that statement 1 is as good as saying 139 plus Z equals 180. So we can find Z. How about statement 2? Y plus Z. So let's ask ourselves, where is our S? We don't know. So only statement 1. What is the total number of coins Beth and Clay have? Beth has 50% more coins than Clay. There are several numbers that, let's say, 10 and 15. 15 is 10%, 10% greater than 10. Yeah. 30 is 10%, 30, 15 is 50% greater than 10. 30 is 50% greater than 20, and so on and so forth. For so many numbers, so not sufficient. The total number of coins that Beth and Clay have is between 21 and 28. That is also not sufficient. Why is it not sufficient? Because is it 22? Is it 23? So we don't know. When combined together, it becomes that S plus 50% of S equals what we are looking for. The thing here is, when we have 2.25S, we notice that out of all the numbers between 21 and 28, the only one that we can divide by 2.25 without a remainder is 25. And because a coin cannot be a fraction, right? I mean, you cannot pieces a coin. So the question already assumes a whole number. So when combined together, they become sufficient because How many coins do they have? Is 25. Paula and Sandy were among those people who sold raffle tickets to raise money for Club S. If Paula and Sandy sold a total of 100 of the tickets, how many of the tickets did Paula sell? Sandy sold 2/3 as many of the raffle tickets as Paula. So S plus 2/3 of S equals 100. We can solve it. Sufficient. Statement 2. Sandy sold 8% of all raffle tickets. But what is all raffle tickets? We don't know. So only statement 1 is sufficient. Machine S and Y produce identical boats. Oh, identical bottles at different constant rates. Machine S operating alone for 4 hours, few parts of a production lot. Then machine Y operating alone for 3 hours, fill the rest of this lot. How many hours would it have taken machine S operating alone to fill the entire production lot? Machine S produces 30 bottles per minute. But we don't know how many bottles. We don't know how many bottles they produce in total. Because if we know how many bottles it produced in total, we'll have said machine Y produced the rest. Then by knowing how many bottles the Y actually Y produce, we can now say, okay, since S can produce 30 bottles per minute, they can produce that so bottles in so minutes. Statement 1 is not sufficient. Statement 2, machine S produced twice as many bottles in 4 hours as machine Y produced in 3 hours. This one is going to be sufficient. It's going to be sufficient because remember what we are looking for is the time, not the actual bottle produced. Because we can express the time, we can express the one rate in terms of the other. Machine S produced twice as many. So we know the rate. So when we know the rate, before we know the time, and now we know the rate. Remember in the previous example, the Beth and Claire, because we know S and 1.5S, so we can find. So this one, statement 2 is sufficient. Do I still have time? Yes, I have time. Let me calm down. An employee is paid 1.5 times the regular hourly rate for each hour worked in excess of 40 hours per week, excluding Sunday, and 2 times the regular hourly rate for each hour worked on Sunday. How much was the employee paid last week? The employee regular hourly rate is $10. This is not sufficient because we don't know the actual hour put in. We only know that the excess of 40 hours. Statement 2. Statement 2 is also not sufficient for one clear reason. Even though we know what the 54 hours is, but how much is the worth of each hour? So we don't know. Let's combine together. When combined together, what happens when combined together? When combined together, they are still not sufficient. Why? The 54 hours, how do we allocate it? He said 54 hours last week. So let's say that we have 40 hours out of this. So it's now remaining 14. Because 14 plus 40 is 54. But how do we allocate this time? Okay, so how do we allocate this time? How to allocate this time become a little challenging, because weekend, Saturday and Sunday are not the same, because Sunday excluding Sunday, so the excess, we will not know the exact way to divide the excess, so we go for E. Finally, this question. Last year, a certain company began manufacturing product S and sold every unit of product S that it produced. Last year, the company's total expenses for manufacturing product S were equal to $100,000 plus 5% of the company's total revenue from all units of product S sold. If the company made a profit of product S last year, did the company sell more than 21,000 units of product S last year? The company don't need to sell 21,000 units, so they can sell 2 units, 3 units, depending on the price of the item and the profits. All right. But then the company can also sell more than 21,000 units and still did not make profits. They can sell up to it, so they don't need. Statement 1 is not sufficient. How about statement 2? Statement 2 is sufficient because for each unit of product S sold last year, the company's revenue was $5. Now, we need to calculate like they need to sell. Remember, 5 times 20,000 is 100,000. That one is just the expenses. So we need to calculate how much plus 10%, how much they need to produce so that they were in profit. Okay, so that one is sufficient because that is going to give us all those figures. We select B. I have 2 minutes. Let me quickly check the answers. Okay, because it will be good to get all the answers correctly. Okay, this one is E. This one is E. This one is E. This one is E. Too much E. Not good though. This one is A. This one is E. This one is A. This one is C. Red and clear. This one is A. This one is B. An employee. This one is E. This one is B. Finish test. It's what it's supposed to be. Okay, all right. Yes,